All right, let's get right into it. Today we're unpacking an incredible story from the time of Prophet Solomon. It's a tale about faith, a really clever deception, and what happens when the truth gets buried and then dug up by the wrong people.
So, let me start by asking this. Do demons actually know the unseen? This question right here is at the very heart of our story. Back in Solomon's time, a lot of people would have said absolutely yes. But the real story? Well, it's way more complicated and involves a masterclass in misinformation. So you might be wondering, where did this idea even come from? Well, it all started with the Shayateen, these demonic beings who cooked up this wild plan to steal divine knowledge, literally from the heavens themselves. And that a whole system worked out. The Shayateen would fly up towards the heavens and secretly listen in as angels were discussing things about the future. You know, stuff like when someone would die, what their fortunes would be, things we can't know. Then they'd zip back down to earth with these little nuggets of truth. But here's the twist. They never delivered the pure message. For every one piece of truth, they'd mix in 100 lies.
Now this corrupted info, they fed it straight to sorcerers among the people, the Bani Israel. And because that tiny little part of the prediction was actually true, people were just blown away when it happened. Before you know it, their faith in these whispers got so strong, they started ignoring their own holy book, the Zaroor. They were all in on these demonic revelations, even writing them down in their own books.
Okay, so things were getting way out of hand. But this kind of widespread corruption couldn't fly forever. Eventually, word got to the ruler, Prophet Solomon. And when he found out what was going on, he knew he had to bring down the hammer.
And I'm not talking about him being just a little disappointed. The man was severely enraged. I mean, can you blame him? He saw his people being totally led astray by these lies dressed up as divine truth. He knew the spiritual danger they were in was massive.
So he didn't waste a second. Solomon ordered his forces to collect every single one of those books of sorcery. But, and this is a key detail, he didn't burn them. Instead, he had them all locked up tight in a chest and then buried it deep beneath his own throne, the very symbol of his authority and justice. And to make sure absolutely everyone got the message, Solomon laid down the law with a powerful decree. He made it crystal clear. If anyone even claimed that the Shayateen could know the unseen, they would face the ultimate penalty. This was a direct shot at the sorcerer's entire power base.
Then he gave a warning straight to the Shayateen themselves. That chest was divinely protected. Any demon who even thought about getting close to it would be burned to ash. Now, this totally worked to secure the books, but you can bet it also fueled a deep, burning hatred for Solomon among the Shayateen. They just couldn't stand his God-given power over them.
You'd think that's the end of the story, right? Problem solved. Well, not even close. Solomon's actions were sharp and decisive, but history is long, and stories can get twisted. Years go by, and the world keeps turning. After Prophet Solomon died, generations came and went. The scholars, the people who actually knew why Solomon buried those books, they eventually passed away. And as they did, the real story started to get fuzzy, fading from memory. This left a dangerous void, just waiting for a new lie to fill. And sure enough, into this void steps a brand new player. A Shayateen, this time disguised as a human, comes up to a new generation of Bani Israel. This generation knew all the legends about Solomon's amazing kingdom, but they'd forgotten the nitty-gritty details of his fight against all this deception. He approaches them with this incredibly tempting offer, playing right into their desire for power and fame. He tells them about a lost treasure, a source of unbelievable power that, he says, has been hidden away right under their feet this whole time. And this, right here, is where the deception gets truly brilliant and really twisted. See, the Shayateen wasn't just offering them some treasure. He was offering them a complete rewrite of their own history, with Solomon himself as the bad guy. And here it is, the core of the new lie, and it is a whopper. This deceiver claims that Solomon's incredible power, his entire kingdom, it didn't come from God, no. He argued Solomon was actually a master sorcerer who used magic to control everything and trick people into thinking he was a prophet. You can just imagine the chaos this caused, right? It immediately split the people right down the middle. The faithful who remembered the truth were furious, defending Solomon as a true prophet of God. But a whole lot of others were totally captivated by this scandalous new story. It sparked a bitter conflict in the community. And for his proof, the Shayateen points them to Solomon's old throne and tells them to start digging. The so-called treasure is right there. But of course, he made sure to stand way, way back. He knew that divine protection was still in place, and he'd be toast if he got too close.
So the people dig. And what do you know? Just like he said, they find the chest. They pry it open, and inside they find all these books filled with magic and sorcery. For them, it was a smoking gun. The Shaitan's lies seemed to be totally confirmed. The very evidence Solomon buried to protect his people was now being used as proof against him. It was a perfect, tragic setup.
And that just leaves us with this final thought, doesn't it? This whole story shows how an action meant to protect the truth can, over time, and with the loss of context, be twisted into its exact opposite. It really makes you wonder, when we bury the truth, are we actually protecting it, or are we just leaving it for some new storyteller to dig up and give it a whole new meaning?